I will be your host and moderator for this Frankston Candidate Forum. I would like to start by acknowledging we are gathered on the lands of the Wurrung people who have been stewards of this area for many thousands of years.
Looking back at where I started as a 12-year-old boy, I grew up in a small country town. I had a lot of troubles. I was very much a rebel and had a massive alcohol problem from 13 years of age through to about 20. So I had a very rough upbringing. I was living on the streets for about 8 months. When I was 16, I was kicked out of home, but I pulled my socks up and I got myself together, and through the School of Hard Knocks, I established my first business at 21, bought my first house at 22, and I've run successful businesses all my life up to the age of 52 right now. I've had 4 beautiful children. They're all 16, 19, 21 and 23. That are very respectful, and they've been brought up the old-fashioned way. Look, I'm here tonight to start to expose what's been going on in this country to all of you, and to show the amount of corruption that's going on in this country, especially in politics. So that's what I'm about.
Thank you very much. I actually just want to start by thanking the other candidates for being here tonight and putting yourself before the local community to answer questions and to talk about what you believe in. As you know, I'm the local member and I've had the privilege for the last 3 years of representing this community in Canberra and taking our voices to Canberra, whether it's been about unemployment, the NDIS, investment in healthcare, better action on climate change, the cost of living. I've taken the time and the care to be of the community and for the community, and to represent you in Canberra. I've fought very hard for a better politics, for a better style of politics, to be someone who's got integrity, that stands up to bullying and bad behaviour, but tries to model themselves as a leader that you can be proud of. And that's why I'm here tonight to tell you about some of the plans I have for the future for this local area, but also for national politics.
I think anyone that lives in and around Frankston can see all the empty shops that have come about over the last 2 years. And definitely the lockdowns and the attack on small businesses by our governments, while large businesses and large corporations have been able to run unabated pretty much. So this is the whole plan from higher up, that small business is always the one that carries the load, and they're the first ones to get screwed over. And the red tape as well. I would also like to see a 50% reduction of rates for the next 3 to 5 years, to entice businesses to be able to actually start up, and for the ones that are still surviving to be able to thrive and get back on their feet after the last 2 years of the tyranny of the lockdowns and that brought upon us by our Labor state government.
Terrible.
There's so much red tape for small business, and they just can't afford it. I mean, the big business has got resources galore where they can afford to do all of the legalities. So the red tape is a massive issue for small business, and that needs to be reduced.
Thank you, Darren. Peter, do you have a comment you'd like to make as well?
Honestly, I'm going to be...
Is that you? You'd like to
I'd like to answer that one if I could.
Sure, if you'd like to have a comment on that, please do.
Okay, housing affordability. I work in the building industry, so I'm pretty well versed on this, and red tape, along with all other industries, is a massive thing. Government overreach is another big thing. Unlocking land, obviously, as Peter mentioned, is also a massive thing. Supply chains that are deliberately being interfered with on a global scale at the moment on more than just building materials. The cost of materials is ridiculous. But I found it interesting, the comment that it's hard to find trades or nurses or ambulance drivers. What I'd suggest for someone that may be practicing law and is a sitting member, that maybe you could make some noise about the laws that all of our governments are breaking at the moment, and remove the vaccine passports. Because me and my three sons are just waiting to get back into the workforce and help people, and that would also help make housing more affordable if we actually had the tradesmen out there that were allowed to work, which we're not at the moment, because we failed to take a experimental medical procedure that has we have laws in this country that they should be adhering to, and one is doctor patient confidentiality, which they are breaking every day of the week, and also discrimination. Now, if I can't...
Please, you were asked to try and stick to the question that was...
Well, this is all relevant to actually being later.
This next Frankston was the one thing that you'd like to fix, and what would you do about it?
Okay, the big issue for me in Frankston is the obvious one is the homeless. It's a massive issue on the streets, and there are so many empty buildings around the area that are just sitting there idly or being vandalised. I believe I was down at the Brekkie Club last Friday morning, and I believe the funding from council this year is being withdrawn. That's what the person that runs that place was telling me. So they're losing their 50 grand funding. So the homeless is a massive thing, and we need to, the community need to get together. If the government aren't going to help, we need to be a ground-up operation to get something done, seriously done for the homeless. And if that's a GoFundMe and renting a shop or a building somewhere to at least give them an opportunity to get off the streets and lay their kit down in a enclosed space out of the wind and the rain, then that'll be a great start. And parking is another massive issue that is also having a detrimental effect on the businesses in Frankston. We've lost that parking where that monstrosity got built, and we've also lost a lot of parking to support some businesses for outdoor dining. But parking is a major issue in central Frankston and needs to be fixed.
So you say you want Frankston to be better. Well, how about we treat people better, and that'll be a start. Get the unvaccinated back, because I'm old-fashioned. All people are equal, so that's my 2 cents. And also, you want to get Frankston going. Look at some of the costs. Go to council to cut a tree down, or that permit will be $112 or something. The costs for doing any business, it's prohibitive. Great people, bad costs. So that's where I'm going. And Frankston, we have so many great people. Why aren't we building more things? Look to the future. Turkey are building their own drones. Why don't Australia get some kids together and use the Frankston High School? Start building drones, or put your hand up if kids are smart. Absolutely, give them the tools and the trades to get something for the future ready. Do you know what I mean? So we've got the skills. Let's capitalise on using the unvaxxed as well. And that's my
So given the rather large influx of comments and questions, let's get our candidates' views, personal views, on lockdowns, vaccinations and mandates. Darren, what are your personal views?
Okay, personal views. Illegal, illegal, illegal. Liberal and Labor governments of this country and this state and every state in this country are illegitimate, and they've been breaking the law and removing your rights every single day. And we are a step away from being a communist country. And people might scoff at that, but this is as serious as it gets. We have a document here. In 1973, the Labor removed us from our constitution without a referendum. In 1975, the Lima Agreement that robbed our manufacturing, that was all sent overseas. In 1988, Labor removed our common law rights. Well, it all goes back to the same thing. The treason and the fraud of all governments and the laws that they break every single day by forced vaccinating people, which is an illegal act under all different codes, including human rights and the Nuremberg Code. You cannot force or coerce a medical procedure that someone doesn't want. And both these sitting members and all politicians in this country have been doing that for the last 12 months. And there should be a royal commission into our governments, and they should be removed and put in jail.
but everyone's back to normal. You're vaccinated, but it still passes it on. It's the biggest load of scaremongering garbage in your life. If you want to get vaxxed, get vaxxed. I'm a bit old-fashioned. I believe Jew, Gentile, black or white, everyone's equal, regardless of your medical stature. Imagine I said to the man over there, you can't work in this cafe because you're not circumcised. You're 42 trying to get circumcised. That's garbage. Where's the one, where's our federal member to say, where's our freedoms? She should be saying to Daniel Andrews, like Moses to Pharaoh, let our people go. No one has stood up for the people that have been sacked. It is horrible. I speak to people today in the polling booth, the guy's crying, it's shivers, I'll be living in my car, it's horrible. No one will employ me because of the sin of not getting vaccinated. It's horrible. So that's my 2 cents. If you're unvaxxed, you should be able to work. Ask someone else as well. Thank you.
Too much noise, I didn't hear my name, sorry. Okay, well, first of all, we can start in Canberra with the lifting of the, I think there's about 28 or 30 suppression orders. Has to do with the pedophile protection industry, which is our politicians and our judiciary, and this is a widespread problem and it is being exposed, and that's the first thing. Stop, release that 28 names that are on that list that the government doesn't want released, because we're going to lose confidence in our politicians. Well, I can give them a bit of a heads up. That's a bit late, mate. The horse has already bolted. There is no confidence left in our politicians. They are corrupt, and they need to be exposed, and that's what I'm here to do. Also, just on the other thing, and I've got some documents here that Peter might be interested in looking at, and that's a summary and felony charges against Brett Sutton, the Chief Health Officer that she's taken advice from. So these documents, for anyone that wants them after this meeting, I've got them available here, and you can do your own research. They're legit. And there's going to be a lot more charges. Obviously, Dan Andrews is about to go down the screaming heap for multiple reasons of fraud and corruption within his government. We've just seen Gunner resign
the question was
in
more
Northern
about
Territory, and we've
how
also
do
seen
you
Gladys Berejiklian and her Deputy Premier resigned last year as well. So it is all coming out, the corruption's being exposed, and they're dropping like 9 pins.